the Chase Thomas Podcast, for people who have nothing but time to kill.
To roll with the young guys either.
Jack, final thing here before we wrap up tonight. Who needs to shine the most in the orange and white game on Saturday? Who are you most fascinated by and think that it'd be good for them this spring to really show out?
Don't really have specific individuals in mind. I'm just going to be watching a couple of position groups more than others, and that's linebacker in the secondary. Obviously, a lot of new faces in the secondary. Want to see Jacoby Thomas and Jamal McCoy, a couple of others, see who can stand out there. There's a ton of turnover there at that position, pretty much the entire secondary. And then at linebacker, obviously the young guys who can really rise up. I know there's the usual suspects of who we know are going to be in the mix next season for playing time there, but just who can stand out in the spring game.
I like it. Ryan, what about you?
Yeah, I think the linebacker one is a good one. I continue to be interested by that position. I'll say running back, and I'll say Khalisa Key for Deshaun Bishop, because Selden's out. So
yep,
Selden's out. Obviously, the Peyton Lewis is out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and refresh my memory. Wasn't Deshaun Bishop simply insane last year at the spring game? Or was that a scrimmage?
Might have been a
scrimmage. I don't remember him popping at this. Yeah, I think Cam Selden had a good spring game last year, if I remember correctly.
I do remember that. Yeah.
I think Deshaun's been running with the twos. You would know better than anybody, Ryan, right? Like, has he been running with the twos this week, or was that what I saw? Yeah.
Yeah. So to me, that's the interesting spot, because that's when you talk about getting into the post-spring portal, that's the spot you kind of look at as Tennessee can maybe use some more depth there. I mean, that's been shown up by the injuries in spring practice. So I think it's an opportunity for those guys. It's an opportunity to say, you don't need to go get anybody in the portal. We can hold it down if it does come to us, if you need us to be a second running back. So I'll be interested to see what they say. I know Hype will, talk very fondly of Deshaun Bishop after the scrimmage they had this week. And then, a name just to kind of throw out there on the defense would be Jordan Matthews.
Yeah.
It feels like those two starting spots are kind of locked in, would probably be a little too definitive or too dramatic of a statement with Ricky Gibson and then Jermon McCoy. But Matthews is a talented guy. I think him having a big performance, would be big to kind of assert himself, as it feels like, again, slipping away feels a little too dramatic. But, maybe he hasn't seized the opportunity early in his sophomore spring practice like he maybe could have.
I'm surprised neither of you said wide receivers. Like, that's where my eyes are going to be. I think the competition there is so strong, and I think it's interesting to see who's lining up where in practice the last few weeks. Where I think Chaz got moved to Caleb Webb's side with Chris Brazzell, if I remember correctly, and then it's just been Donte, Thornton, and Mike Matthews on the other side, and then Braylon Staley running right behind Squirrel in the slot. I'm very curious what Caleb Webb looks like. I'm curious how good Staley and Matthews look right out of the gate, because there was something about Mike Matthews I think he had a touchdown in this scrimmage, at least one of the two downfield. I'm curious what Nico looks like with these receivers, because I think Donte Thornton, I mean, he's healthy. Everything has been positive about him year 2 in the system. We saw what year 2 in the system meant for Jalen Hyatt in this offense. I am very, very curious, because I'm very high on this receiver depth that they have this year. Especially, I want to see what Nico looks like with these receivers and who pops, because I think there's just so much competition. And we know in this hypo scheme that these guys, they don't rotate that much, and that you're fighting for just a bunch of snaps that just typically aren't rotated, like the way that Tennessee handles running back or handles linebacker or the defensive line. It's just not a rotate position. So I think the competition there, with especially how much young talent is in that room now, that's where I'll probably be transfixed on Saturday, is how the wide receivers play with Nico and Gaston.
Yeah, I mean, I think anyone would lie to you if they said they weren't excited or looking forward to or going to watch the passing game closely with Nico and the receivers.
Yeah.
It felt a little low-hanging fruit. That's why I didn't say it, honestly. But yeah, I mean, it's Nimrod and Webb. It's who's going to take a step. It's the freshman. It's the 5-star Mike Matthews, right? There's so much excitement in that wide receiver room. It's Donte Thornton. Can he bounce back after not contributing a lot last year consistently? So there's so much to watch for in the wide receiver room. And no, I'm not trying to throw shade. I'm just saying, like,
yeah, I said,
Ryan
Jason on the plebeians can talk about the receiver rotation.
I was like, oh my God.
I wasn't trying to throw shade.
I knew what you meant, Jack.
If that's what Chase wants to talk about. I thought we were talking ball. I thought I was talking to some ball knowers.
The peasants. Yeah, no, I mean, it will be interesting, and that'll just be continued development. I will say the guy that I'm curious to see in the receiver room is Staley, because he's impressed me.
Mm-hmm.
When I've got to watch him run routes on air this spring, oh, man, it's been exciting. But he moves well, so I'll be curious to see that.
I love it. But yeah, look, man, not all of us can. We're not the ball knowers that Jack is. Jack's got his eyes on different things. Ryan and I are simple dudes. We love the simple things in life. We like laughing at Curb Your Enthusiasm and watching the receivers catch balls from Nico. That's what we like. But hey, it's not for everybody. Not for everybody on this podcast. Jack, what can the good folks check out from you from Always College Football and Rocky Top Insider this week?
Yeah, it's actually an exciting week if you're a Tennessee fan. As Josh Heupel is going to be joining the show this week. So,
ooh, big get.
New interview dropping with McElroy and Heupel. That'll be fun. I believe that's going to actually come out later in the week, probably on Thursday. And then there's going to be, I think on Monday, a crossover episode with Greg and Kevin Clark, who has another Omaha show. They're going to be.
Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas podcast. Hell yeah.